Hi, it's John here, and I'm here with Clay Nelson of the Portland Valentango. And before we dive into the story of the festival and what it's about and everything, Clay, can you talk a little bit about what is it that excites you about tango? What really lights you up about it?
Um, I guess there's a couple of things. Watching dancers, yes, but great dancers are. I mean, it's a beautiful dance. I used to be a ballroom dancer, and I taught all the other ballroom dances. But when I watch tango, it's just so special. Then the other many aspects. I mean, there's so, but another one that really kind of gets me fired up is when I teach beginners and I see them get in tango, and this experience um, of all that tango involves, both dance and the social aspects of tango. I think it brings so much positive energy into people's lives, and that's kind of why I'm engaged in this.
Yeah, I think we could definitely use a little bit of extra positive energy these days with the whole things that's been going on in politics and all that kind of stuff. Um, I'm also curious though, like what was it that got you started? How did you get started with like the first festival?
Before I get into that, can I just, when you said of politics, I don't know if you know, but I did a survey about sort of political beliefs. I normally do not get involved in politics, but I did do a survey, and the results were interesting, which you'd have to go to my website to see what the results were. It was mostly just asking which party they related to. But also, I had a few people that did not like the fact that I even mentioned it. So I found that kind of interesting. The question was how I got started?
Yeah, that's how did you get started with being involved with the first festival?
Well, Portland at the time, I had a dance studio. Portland is a city that has tons of ballrooms. It's now called the Crystal Ballroom. I don't know what it was called. 100 years ago, for 40 years, and guys bought it and turned it into they bought the whole building and turned it into a microbrewery. And I was teaching on Sundays. They asked me if I would go Sundays. This is 20 years ago. And I said, yeah, I would love to do tango. And I was just getting into Argentina. And I knew that if we just focused on tango, we'd get a lot of people dancing ballroom tango, which I have taught. But I knew that I really wanted to introduce Argentine tango to the community. Thought this would be an opportunity. And I also happened to know that there was a tango in the Bay Area. Kind of came together, and I said, why don't I get this orchestra to come up for the special event? Then why don't I just contact a few teachers that I knew in the area, and I would let them teach a few classes. So that happened. That was just a little, and it was such a huge success. I said, well, we have to do this again. So that was the beginning of my annual tango festivals. One was in October, which then the next year I said, well, it's a great time to do it. So then I started the Valentango, and so then going, not do the October one anymore. I turned it over to other people in Portland. But anyway, it was just kind of a fluke how the whole thing started.
I definitely find that out of all the different communities, that there's a lot of cooperation with the Portland tango scene. What do you think kind of really brings that about? What is it about Portland that makes it unique in that way?
John, I get to ask this question a lot, and I wish I knew the secret, because so many people. I mean, we know that so many communities there is divisiveness. It's not to say that there hasn't been sometimes the same thing happening in Portland. Again, I think it's just luck, but when I first started dancing tango, I was really what called salon style tango. And Robert Hawk spent some time in the Bay Area. He was taking some lessons from me, but he spent some time in the Bay Area and he learned to dance close embrace. Hell, I didn't even know what close embrace really meant. And he came back and he said, Clay, I think tango should be different than you're teaching it. To teach it. And I said, great, what night would you like to use my studio? So, so I invited him to be one of the teachers. And then later on, Alex Krebs got, fascinated with tango, and he's just a phenomenal person. Each other, and we all supported each other. It kind of set the tone that we can all maybe be alone, but we can all get along. We all promote each other, and I was several years back, but I think it just kind of set the tone for the community.
Yeah, I do feel like that a lot of people seem to have this kind of scarcity mentality in a lot of the other tango communities, and whereas you guys just realize, hey, there's plenty of dancers, and we can grow the community more by, like you said, promoting each other and stuff. I think, you and Robert basically appeal to, generation that, is maybe more traditional or, close embrace and stuff. And then Alex really, I think, appealed to the younger generation who are willing to kind of experiment more and stuff like that. I mean, that's really, from my perspective as a dancer, what I observed. Like when I first encountered the Portland tango scene and stuff, and really word got around that, like, hey, if you're going to go to one festival, make sure you go to Portland and stuff. I mean, word just spread, from there, that like from the strength and stuff like that you guys had. So after all this time, like, do you have any advice for festival organizers then? Like, beyond simply like kind of just, to have this kind of more abundance kind of view? And
well, what you said about, how did you say it? That there's a tendency in some communities for teachers to feel like there's a limited number of available students, and so they kind of want to hang on to them.
Yes.
And the first time I heard the expression "floats all boats," heard that. It is in tango. I mean, it is so true.
Yeah.
Because I know that if Alex does something and promotes tango within Portland, it's going to come back to me. If I do something, it's going to come back to him. Same way with Robert. There's an infinite market out there. I mean, when I go into, a men's clothing store. So I talk to the clerk and he says, "Oh, what do you do?" And I say, "Well, I teach tango." "Oh, I've always wanted to learn tango." Infinite number of people out there, huge number of people that would love to learn tango. And so the market, you just don't want to grow it because there's so many people out there that would love to have this experience. So I don't know if I'm answering your question. What advice do I have? To think of sharing, and always promoting and helping other people.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go back. You said, Robert Hawk, he has a full-time job as an engineer, electrical engineer. So he doesn't have to depend on tango to support himself. I'm sort of semi-retired. I do this because I love it. Made money off of it, but I don't feel like I ever have to have tango surviving. And Alex Krebs, he's just such a phenomenal, exceptional person that he's going to do well no matter what he does. So I don't think any of us ever felt that we had to sort of corner the market in any way, which I think really helped.
Yeah.
In the long run, it expands the market. I'm a real believer in that.
Absolutely. So what would you tell somebody who's visiting for the first time Portland? What advice would you give them?
To look at the Portland Tango website.
Okay.
And all you have to do is Google Tango Portland. The website, and it's a very good website. It's very well maintained. And you can look and see all the stuff that's going on tango wise. Take your pick. It lists all the teachers and contact information, any current tango wise. That's absolutely the first thing to do.
Very cool. And is there something that you remember that you wish you'd had done differently early on and stuff? Was there some kind of misstep that, like, you wish you had kind of just some insight that you know now from experience?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a very difficult question. Because of course I was an engineer, so I knew nothing about promoting events and and what it takes to DJ use. I think it was a learning experience for me. Some of the missteps that I took, because that's how I learned. I can't think of any I did wrong, but I had to do them wrong because I wouldn't have learned them wrong.
Yeah, that's absolutely the funny part about it. Yeah.
Of answer, but it's really true. Did wrong. I don't do now. I try not to do.
Right.
But there's new stuff. There's always new situations that you have to deal with because you're dealing with people.
Well, one of the things I thought was interesting a few years ago that you introduced the alternative tango scene to the tango events and stuff. So what prompted you to kind of embrace that?
I didn't.
Oh, sorry?
I really didn't know that I introduced to the tango scene. I do know that, and for some beginners, find the music difficult, and so they like to dance to alternative music. Generally speaking, even people in music, many times down the road back to a person that I don't know if you know Christy Cody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I talked to her one time. She said, "Oh, she used to really music, but she used to dance. She was a ballroom dancer." And she said, "More and more, I find myself gravitating back to the traditional music." So I think if alternative music, it makes people just want to dance. That's the important thing, just to want to dance. Then I want to make it available. I mean, I always want to make to my festivals and find something that is what they're looking for, whether it's alternative music, whether it's my mixers and meeting other people, or taking classes, or seeing a show. I just want to provide something for everybody, and that includes alternative music. Myself, I love traditional. I want to dance to, and I did, because when I hear other music, if it's Latino, I want to do rumba or cha-cha, or if it's a waltz, I want to Viennese waltz. I want to do Viennese waltz. So if I really want to dance to tango, but everybody's different.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that what I also feel as a dancer, that when I've visited Portland different times, that there's this kind of embracing of the different things about tango, like different people, like that was part of the, other than the things you've talked about the community itself welcoming each other. I felt as an outsider visiting Portland that I was embraced, like kind of just, compared to like different tango scenes that I've been to, where you felt like you had to kind of break in, so to speak, and stuff. And I felt none of that when I visited Portland, even from the first time around. I felt very much like that, like just as soon as I got there, that like when I asked somebody to dance, it wasn't like, you know, who are you and stuff. It was like kind of like, yeah, let's dance, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear, but I have to be honest. I mean, there's some terrific dancers in Portland, and sometimes beginners feel intimidated and not welcome, just like
Yeah.
any other city. So it does happen. That's because you're a good dancer that you're so welcome. I have a friend, Arturo. I don't know if you know him from Seattle. He always says tango is a cruel sport, and it can be. Yeah, it can be people.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely one other aspect of it.
And that's kind of true everywhere, because as you dance longer and longer, you really want to dance with other partners that are more at your level. And of course, beginners or people who don't progress as fast oftentimes feel left out or feel that they're being slighted. And I understand that. I mean, I understand both sides of it. So, you know, do you know Murat? Murat,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, he said to me, I can't quote him exactly, but he said something like, when he goes to a milonga, he looks and he does one dance, woman that he thinks probably is not going to get danced that much, you know, because maybe she's not that good of a dancer, or maybe she's not as attractive as some of the younger dancers. And then he tries to dance one dance with maybe somebody that's been a student of his. He does 3 dances like that. And then he said, after that, he said, then I go dance with the people I want to dance with, that I know I'm going to have a great time. And I think that's really good attitude, as advanced as Murat. But
Yeah.
I try to keep that in mind and go at least dance a couple with beginners.
Yeah.
Then go do your thing.
I think that kind of attitude is really like an investment in the community. It's like kind of just basically planting a seed of energy, you know, that really, I think, grows the community, because that kind of thing, that like it's like almost like this kind of karma bank for tango, that like, you know, really you just never really see the full repercussions of it. It just kind of like, it's invisible, but it's absolutely, you feel it though. You feel like when that the community is growing in terms of like this kind of certain sense. And not to get too esoteric, but I do like, I've seen when communities and people do that, that like you really, you know, sense that like there's something there going on that's beyond simply that people, you know, dancing and turning people down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What would you say though is like something that has really made you proud about, you know, being an organizer with Valentango, Portland Tango?
You kind of broke up there. What was
sure.
the question?
Oh, what would you say is like, you know, your proudest moment that's been with being an organizer in the Portland Tango scene?
That I will always remember in my life is 10 years ago at a Valentango event, I didn't know him. Introduced himself, said, "Clay, I tell you something." He said, "Ken, best weekend of," and moment just stands out in my mind, because if I can provide that kind of experience for people, I'm not a person that goes goodwill things, you know, like and stuff like that. But I feel like if I can bring some happiness to people's lives, filling to me. Just had a cat. You probably can't see him. A cat just jumped on my lap here.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah.
So I think that plus having festivals. Gosh, you know, Valentango, there's 600-700 people there. You're going to make, not everybody's going to be a happy camper. You know, you try, but to provide a festival year after year like this, it's almost scary. We're up this year already from last year. You know, I've always said, dancing, different dances go through cycles, and I've always said, you know, when that tango, that I'm not going to try to push it when they aren't doing it for me. You know, I just simply, I don't want to have to fight them.
So
it seems like sometimes it almost gets out of. Okay,
so
I'm losing the sound there.
Okay, so like, where do you see Tango in another 20 years? Do you have like some, you know, kind of vision for like where the community is possibly can be growing to?
You know, I've had some, you know, you have to have a 1 year plan and a 5 year plan. And I'm always thinking, heck, I'm thinking about 6 months from now. And I don't know. It's just really hard to say. You know, almost one of the things that has Tango, I'm going to step on some toes here, but you know, but I taught for a studio. Dancer, we used to sell company. That's how we made our money. I don't think necessarily a very healthy thing. I used to tell people when they knew I was going to a tango festival, they would say, "Oh, are you going to compete?" I would look at them and I'd say, "You know, competition dance is competition sex. It's not about competition with another person."
Yeah.
And so, so many things in the competition. As long as people can, they want to with other people, successfully grow. Too structured or too competition wise, I think that's going to be a bad sign. Personally, big competition in San Francisco by a friend of mine. It's not really my forte.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. It just, like you said, I think the competition sex analogy is absolutely a great, you know, metaphor for like, you know, what's kind of like really, I don't even know if counterproductive is the word. It's just basically like contrary, I guess, is to what the essence of to me the tango is about as well, about the connection. Yes, so definitely thanks again. I'm sorry.
Just going to mention, you know, years ago, you know, the dances that have really culture. Are you?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, John?
Yeah.
Okay. The video of you, but anyway, the dances that have really survived in our culture, when you think about them, are things like West Coast swing, tango, salsa. They're all dances that were not promoted by the major ballroom dance studios. To me, that I feel the dances that they took over into competition and made syllabus of silver, bronze, and gold charts and all that kind of stuff, maybe was what kind of destroyed them. People have tried to create charts, but it's improvisation. As long as it remains that way, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Strictly Ballroom, where it just was a you know, amazing parody of how the, you know, like that then people were not only afraid to improvise and be creative, but then it just kind of became almost against the rules to do it. And I feel like that's again contrary to the other aspect of it. It's besides the connection, it's also about expression or creative expression and just basically as an outlet for that part of our soul and stuff. Awesome, Clay. Yeah, thanks again for your time. Really appreciate it. So what's the best way for folks to learn more about Portland Tango and Valentango? You mentioned the website.
Definitely the website. Just Google Tango Portland, and you will find a website for the Portland community, which has everything on it. For me, you know, I have one of them just called tangoclay.us.
Okay.
Valentango US, and the third one is burningtango.us. By the way, I don't know if you know about Burning Tango, but it my favorite festival.
Nice. Yeah, I actually have seen your newsletters about it. I just haven't been able to make that one yet, but definitely it's on my Tango wish list and stuff for places to go.
For Burning Tango. Where are you, in the Bay Area or LA? I can't remember.
I'm down by LA now. I was up in the Bay Area until a few years ago and stuff. So yeah, I do occasionally still make it up there, but now I'm more Southern
Okay,
California.
because we're only the Burning Tango event is only 4 or 5 hours from the Bay Area, so it's very convenient for a lot of people.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Clay, and definitely, yeah, we'll definitely share some of the different links you mentioned in the show notes for this broadcast, and look forward to connecting with you again in person.
Yeah, me too. And I kind of admire the stuff you're doing in terms of traveling in Tango.
Thanks, Clay.